called Reggae at 50. I'll do a little presentation on that, and also there's Mr. Wilson here. We're trying to sort of add in a bit of what we're doing for something called International Reggae Day, Reggae Stakeholders. So we'll talk about some of the issues that's coming up. Devon, I explain later. So yeah, I wanted to do all this within this space. The important thing is that I have to relax. That's why it's not theater style. It's sort of like this situation. Yes, we do realize that you can't bring food in here, but hey, most people are taking the food home or you can eat some there. Please, the drinks as well. We can't bring drinks. I don't know why. I thought we've seen drinks in this place before. So at some time, I think I have to have a natural break for people to move out of this place and go and get a drink or something, yeah? Because we certainly don't want to take a drink, so... Yeah, so I think Councillor Lee, especially since you can't leave early, can you come over and just do the formal introduction? You can't do it from where you're sitting, you really have to. People have to exercise their feet. Introducing that you are the host, so for B2WSC African History Visitors, basically, since you're the host, you should welcome them officially.
Okay. You're welcome to Brent. The convention normally is, if a fellow councillor is here, I have to say hello to Councillor Johnson on the back first, normally. If an MP then it's the same with an MP, with a mayor and all that. I think I have done that now, Councillor Johnson, so, I mean, it's good books. That's good. You all know, isn't Brent the base where the reggae industry is sort of...
Yes, so that's the whole point of our presentation we do. We're claiming, and I don't think without merit, that Brent, and particularly Housing, is the capital of Brent history in Britain.
Yeah, reggae history.
No. Reggae. I'm sorry. Let me, for the benefit of the video, Brent, but particularly Housing in Brent, is the capital of reggae music in Britain.
Yeah, you see, and just to make you all jealous, I live in Halston. Yeah, so I'm right in the centre of the incubation of history there. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the evening. Yes, Quake was right. There was a long rigmarole in trying to get the whole booked. It's just civil servants being civil servants. They create problems, but there's no need for it. But at least we're all here now. And I know it's to thank all of you because Quake One, Mrs. Sell, and they're all busy the whole year doing one bit of function or educational presentation or celebration. So, and all of you take your active part in it during the course of the year. So, you know, by all means, I hope you have a good shindig. I hope you get to shake your legs a bit. I hope there's some good music in the presentation.
There is.
I hope there's the old type reggae. I don't like any of the fancy new stuff. That's just because I'm old fashioned. And I think one more thing which I was reminded to refer to, them betting past this year.
Yes.
No doubt, during the course of the evening, you will make reference to the work she did, not only in Brent, but also the wider London. As I said earlier, you will have to, excuse me, because I have to go to the Sai Barber in Wembley. They're also doing another celebration, and I have to be there as well, because that's my area where I represent. As much as I love you all, I don't want to be kicked out from being a councillor, so they need to see me, because I'm their local councillor. You're welcome to Brent.
Thank you very much. Can you give us 10 minutes, or are you shooting off immediately, councillor? Can you stay 10 minutes, or are you shooting off immediately? Yeah, okay. I do these things with people I know. So it's random, but people tend to swim quite well. But you see, I didn't realize how difficult it was. Because, like, for example, I always call Nana and ask her to do something, and she does it so effortlessly. She gave me warning to be on the panel last week. It was a panel, we're looking at fair trade, which is a passion. And I realized how much work it was. Even though she'd given me time, I didn't have enough time to do much research, and I was panicking. But in the end, the process of me doing something that was not my comfort zone, I found that amazing. So respect to you, and I really want to recognize the work she does supporting us, because I threw her in at the different things, and she really does a good job. So can we give her yes. Now, Mr. Reggae Man, are you ready?
Okay.
That's you. Are you ready? Because I'm going to throw you in. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to hold on. And sometime you're going to do your quiz.
Right.
Do you need to set up or can you just go? That's it.
Right. Well, you say you like throwing people in at the deep end, so...
No. I'm not immediately. I'm saying, so what's the format? Do you need to set up something or do you stand here and then after?
I just stand there.
That's fine. So I'm giving you 10 minutes.
I can get these up.
Yeah. But it's Brother Andrew I'm going to put in the deep end. Yeah, because, okay, because Brother Andrew said that's an African history, that's a whole range sector of black culture. But let's see if this is anywhere near as comfortable. Brother Andrew, come. Because you have to leave early. You have to leave early. Right. So my brother here, I respect Brother Andrew. He was with us just about 2 weeks. In fact, 2 weeks exactly today, we're at the Civic Center, not the Civic Center, City Hall, Sadikan's place. And with Nana and another sister, they did a great presentation on 30 years on from the introduction of Black History Month in the UK. Where are we going? And because I wanted people to talk about community delivery of the history. So Brother Andrew is one. And he's done a few things. That the days when we have fun in Harrow. Not that it was enough, but at least it was a gesture towards his expenses. So Brother Andrew, what I'm going to do, because I won't make it to the time, because you have forewarned me that you have to leave for another event, so I appreciate that. I talked about throwing someone in the deep end, and so let's see how you survive. I don't know what you know about reggae.
I don't.
So here we go.
I don't.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes.
Yes.
To talk about reggae, particularly, and I always like a British slant as well. So you can go to Jamaica, but we must have a British context. So without prepping, this man can tell you about Ethiopia. Because he can tell you about Egypt. He can tell you about Nubia. Right? And when he does our stuff in Harrow, because we've got a focus to African British history, I push him to research and do a specific African British history perspective. And he does a good job. The last one he did was Marcus Garvey. And the other thing, as if you haven't met him before, it's very good with young people. It's very, very good. He engages with young people. So that's why I said, I'm throwing deep end. And let's see how well you swing. You have to talk about reggae, but please, if you don't have a British context, it doesn't have to be totally British, but if you don't have a British context, then you fail.
Oh,
Andrew, Brother Andrew Mohammed.
Why does he do this to me? I'm going to be very upfront with you, and I have to apologize. When I was growing up, I was one of the soul boys, yeah? I was into soul, but my parents were from the Caribbean, obviously. Via Africa, but through Jamaica, and so obviously we was brought up with a very strong emphasis on reggae music, because back in the day it was the reggae music and our Rasta brothers and sisters, to be honest with you, that kept our culture alive. From a young boy growing up, you know, I never grew up on a conscious level, yeah, but it was the Rasta brothers, and obviously listening to the honourable Bob Nestor Marley, okay, that they introduced something different to me. They said that you're not British, you're not even black, you are African. And it was, oh God.
That's my passion, so I had to do that.
And believe it or not, it was via the reggae music that gave us that emphasis. And it made me literally fall in love, not just with the music itself, but with the person who was, for me, the ambassador of that music back in the 70s. Who am I talking about? Bob Marley. That's what I'm talking about. He was the emphasis to me on what it meant in terms of being an ambassador of music and how music can affect the whole world. Okay, and to me that was my greatest inspiration. So much that many years later, I done quite an extensive research on this man that helped me change my life, and I realized some of the things that he used to do and why he had to be. And I'm going to say this to you, it may sound controversial, but I personally, based on my own research, I 100% believe that Bob Marley, the Honourable Bob Nestor Marley, was murdered. He never died of natural causes. I know we talked about him hitting his toe, creating cancer. No. If you go, see, we're the only people that accept foolish answers like that. But when you go back and research in Jamaica, and what they realize that the power of reggae music, not just in the Caribbean per se, but throughout the whole of Europe, America, and so on, okay, reggae music was the upliftment and unification of people all over the world. And not just black people. And being at the head of this, or the forefront of this in many respects, they had to deal with it. And when it came to Bob Marley, many of us don't appreciate that he even talks about it himself. He was being trailed by the CIA. And it was the CIA's director, it was his son, that gave Bob Marley a gift of a football boot. Ouch. Please go back and research this. And then they said that when Bob Marley put his foot in that boot, he screamed. Look, there he is. Buffalo Soldier. Yeah? And he actually screamed. Please go back and research this. He screamed, and his security looked in that boot, and there was a nail sticking out of it. And that same nail was the same nail that injected and pierced his toe. And from that time, that particular injury never recovered. Never recovered. And that was the same toe that they said this cancer so-called developed from. Now, if you know anything about cancer, there are different forms of cancer. And the cancer that Bob Marley had is foreign to black or African people. Please go back and research it. It's foreign to our people. Something like less than 0.4% of people that have this particular cancer, yeah, are from the African or African diaspora. Yeah? But yet Bob Marley, he got that particular cancer. And the CIA said in their own notes, we had to stop him. He was a threat. He was a threat via the music that he's giving. And just to round this off, in respects to that, please go back and research this. They said we have to change the direction of the reggae music that comes out of that land. Because that reggae music he was promoting, that came via the UK. Remember, Bob Marley came to the UK. It was the UK that really launched him. Yeah? But they said, literally, we have to reinvent this music because it's talking about unification. It's talking about African history. It's talking about linking them back with Haile Selassie or Ethiopia. The messages are too powerful. So you know what they said? Is that my time up?
Yes, but you know what they said? Finish on that. You know what they said?
Okay. They said that we have to stop this. And they said we're going to actually go back to our laboratories, our scientists, and we're going to reinvent a new style of music. That the emphasis now is going to be gang so-called culture. It's going to be dealing with drugs. It's going to deal with guns and whatever, okay, which they help import into Jamaica. And they invented what they call their so-called dancehall music. That was not a natural music that we came with. Please go back and research. I'm not trying to tell anyone their business, but go back and research. And then after Bob Marley, after they got rid of him, and Peter Tosh and so on, a new style of music came in. With the guns, with the force, the money, and the false materialism. And believe it or not, they took our people off track from what the original message of reggae was really trying to do, and the unification of our people. That's all.
Thank you. Can I just say thank you, brother Andrew, and is a disciplined person, so I respect that. So thank you very much. Okay, now today, this is supposed to be a social, it's supposed to be a relaxed thing. Yeah. We do a lot of things. We've got a couple of organizations, different projects. So people would have interfaced with us on different levels. Some may be history. We've even got politics in there. We sort of Labour, Jeremy Corbyn. So there's a whole raft of things. Music industries as well. So people interact with us differently, reggae in there. So can I just say, first of all, at some time I'm going to have a bit of a quiz after Reggae Man, because I've got this reggae related stuff that has to go. And to me the top prize, though there are CDs here, the top prize is this. What does it say?
F wind and more fire.
F with the more fire. I feel someone should have it, even though I want it. But there's not like a free lunch, so you have to work towards these things. Right. Okay, so when we decided to do this thing, and I said, you know, I wanted to mark the Betty's life in the sense that we've done so many projects with her. There was one that's not in here, but we still have something called Ayeko at Mission Dine. Mission Dine was a center in housing which has been knocked down, unfortunately. So this is not like a memorial and stuff, but her daughter is here, so Harry, can you just, you don't have to say anything, but just so that people know it's a relaxed situation. So that's her daughter there, Harriet. Can you just wait so that people know who I'm talking about? Okay, so Harriet is a teacher, and Dane did so many things in the charity field, helping vulnerable people, old people, and young people. Right, so that's what this is about. So in case you don't know what she looks like if I put up photos of, I did share a photo of her with, and we did a lot of stuff with Miss Sarah particularly. Not only did we work with her, but they became friends as well. So that is Dame Betty. Everybody know Dame Betty?
Yeah.
Okay, this photo was taken in Harrow. At one time, Sarah was the mayoress and Nana was the mayor. So we did a few mayoral balls, yeah? And this was one of that. And I think this particular one, we're fundraising for organization. We've done a few fundraisers. And I noticed someone walked in who's from Harrow. I think she's been at one of the balls. So that is the Betty who sadly passed away in September. But I have to say, the local paper, which is Kilburn and Brent Times, has covered her. And if you're in my main list, I'll give you the link so you can go and read about her, what she's doing. So that is that. What else do we have on here? Yes, maybe is Miss Sarah busy?
No,
she just gone out. Okay. In that case, okay. We do African history. The last project that we did is in a paper called The African Voice, the current African Voice. So you can read about it if you're interested. Again, I think I put the link on the last mailing list I did. I'll leave this for Miss Sarah because I need her to be here. Oh, it's a shame. I wanted Councillor Ali to pick what we should do. So, you know, Crystal, you're so far removed. You're at that back. Hello, Angela, I'll send you. So, I'm going to put something on the screen. I work people, you know. So you're going to pick up what topic, and then it's a video, the chapters, yeah? Crystal, you with me? She's lost. Okay. I wasn't speaking to the room, I was speaking particularly to you. Okay. Yeah, I was saying that I work people. So the next job for you is that I'm going to put some chapters on the video, because we can't show the whole video, and you can choose which chapter you should watch. Okay. It's as simple as that. So I'll just pick. So the video is called Brent Black Music History. It wasn't just about reggae, but what happens is that obviously if you live in Brent, then you know that reggae is a big thing in this borough. So indeed, Brent Council has won the London Borough of Culture 2020. And reggae will feature in terms of its programming. They've got something called No Bass Like Home. So there were a whole range of reggae-related events in 2020. So maybe it's good that we brush up on some of our history. So, Crystal, we've got buildings, we've got community centers, we've got Putney Pine, we've got Ephemera, we've got foundation builders, hit records, industry issues, power stations, record retailing, and sound systems. All this have to do with Brent, so you can pick up one and we'll go with it. Hit records.
There you go.
There we go.
Good choice.
Is that Devil? That's a good choice.
Hi, I'm Jenny Kay. I'm a singer, songwriter, and actress. I started in the music business in 1977. I recorded my first track, Loving You, in the genre of dance rock. By 1979, I had a hit in the British charts, first British female reggae artist to get to the top of the British charts. So that's recorded in the Guinness Book of Records with a track called Silly Games.
record that ended up going into national charts at #1. Can you tell us, because here we are in Brent and a record made in a home studio, so please tell us a little bit and tell us what that record was.
Well, that record was Let Me Be Your Fantasy by Baby D. I mean, we had a producer called Dice, who was very prolific. I mean, basically, the label was set up because my records, Galaxy records, were coming out fast enough. And I was surrounded by loads of people. You talk about musicians, I was surrounded by loads of musicians. Great producer called Terry Jones, Dice was a great producer, a guy called DJ called DMS. They were all holding around the studio. It's like a common room. I mean, people would come in 24/7 and just make a racket in this place. And they all had great ideas, and they were getting no deals. So I said, tell you what, thankfully I made a bit of money from Galaxy, I had a house here, end of terrace, perfect position, and we had our own studio, so we decided to set up our own label, called Production House. We couldn't get good distribution, so we set up our own distribution.
Aswad was signed to Ireland first, and they left Ireland and came to us. And then after about 3-4 years, we took them back to Ireland and they re-signed.
Okay, so that was it records. I think what I'm going to do, mindful of time, I'll mix this quiz into what we're doing. So 2 things, and I just have to put a warning. Because I was told today that I give cheap things. Fair enough. But I give what I have, and I think it's a token rather than the thing, right? So we've got some young people who have to buy Dolce and Gabbana and nothing else or whatever, right? I'm not there. I want to share that fits me. Doesn't mean I have to grab. So I give what I have. And that includes as simple as a key ring. Or CDs. So, 2 questions from this, then we'll move on. I noticed, Sarah, I don't know if you've heard that they weren't telling people that there was something here. So, these guys.
I saw them when they were coming in.
Right. So, I'm going to play one more thing, go downstairs and speak to them because there's no point.
It's on the notes.
Okay.
It is not.
So, it wasn't there.
It wasn't.
Okay, let's move on. What year did the Silly Games lady? So can someone remind me what Silly Games lady's name? Okay, you get a key ring because that's a quiz, but this is what it's supposed to be about. This is all we want. The left is supposed to be a relaxed thing. So, you know, it's not like we've got a budget to do this. Jeanette K, yeah. What
I'm his manager, I want to
in what year did Jeanette K say she started?
72.
No. Ground rules. Cool. I had a bell, a lovely bell. There we go. Christmas bell. When this goes, we stop whatever we're saying. Okay. This is the ground rules. You just raise your hand because it's no point talking over each other, right? So, in what year did Jeanette K say she started? There we go, Harriet first.
Was it 1977?
It's 77. I was wondering. Yeah, she must. I thought she was wrong, but of course her hit was in 79. So you're all right. Harriet, do you play CDs?
Yes, I do.
You play CDs. Okay. I'm going to give you a local guy. He's called Owen Deacon. Maybe I didn't invite him personally, so that's why it's not here. Owen Deacon's gospel. Yeah. Okay. Can we get a round of applause? Okay. Then one more. So they need not be about reggae, obviously. They need, but I got one reggae question, so I can do something else. What was the name of Phil Fioren's label? Okay, I saw your hand go up, but because your hand went first, but because you had something, my man.
Production House.
Production House. Thank you. Can you give a round of applause? There's no point giving this man CDs because he's got them. He's a record label. Okay, let me wear my glasses so I know what I'm doing. Okay, but just in case, do you have Glenn Washington CD?
No, I haven't.
So you can have it then. Because he's got so many. He gives them out to me to give out. So if you don't have it, then you can have it then.
Thank you very much.
Respect. Can we have a round of applause for him? Okay, so we've done that. So maybe someone else can choose. No, okay, Brenda.
Permission to speak, Kwake.
As long as it's less than 1 minute.
CD. Have you got my CD?
Okay, maybe a good intervention. And no. Last time I used the word interjection.
Yeah.
It should have been intervention. And somebody left without signaling that she was leaving. So I wrote to her today and said, was it because I said interjection and I meant intervention that you left? I've got a reply. So now I'm making sure I'm using the right word. Good intervention. You know what? When I emailed you and told you to let me know whether you're coming, or else I put into the price, you didn't respond. But I noticed you booked, but you did not respond. So you know what I decided? Okay. It's going, it's going to the price pool.
That's okay.
But what I was going to do, no, this is a concession. I was going to do an exclusive Brenda quiz. Oh. But as I said, nothing is free or cheap. I went on an EasyJet flight, and the pilot said, there's nothing like a free lunch. And that's, EasyJet, you have to buy your lunch and stuff. So, although this is exclusive to Brenda at this moment in time, if you get it wrong, you ain't gonna get it. So that's the CD. Rocky, Duane, let me tell you what happened. When we launched British Black Music Month, on 1st June, British Black Music Month is June into July, she came, we had a screening at the University of London, and she won this, but someone was saying she answered the question. So, because maybe they spoke over each other, so that's why you got to be careful. So without wanting a fast, Brenda gave the CD to that person. So I emailed Brenda and said, I've got a spare one, but it's going, if I don't hear from you, then it's going to go into the pool. It's going to the pool. But I'm thinking, what question can I ask? Okay, know what I'm going to do.
So I made it easy for you, Kwake.
No, because you're going to say forget it. I want us to go through the process.
I can make it easy.
No, I don't want you to make it easy.
Go back into the pool.
No.
It's an exclusive, Brenda.
It's an exclusive. But what I want to do, I don't want Brenda to blame me, she doesn't get it. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to confer with Nana to give something that she knows Brenda can answer correctly. I got question,
No, she knows. But she knows that stuff.
I'll go under the table soon.
Yes, no, it's too complicated. Okay, I want something very simple. You see?
What year was Carol founded?
Hey!
No, is that too difficult?
Hey! Brenda! Okay. Well, she's sitting, okay. Do you know what we're going to do? Brenda, listen. Do you remember our university challenge? And they've got these things about you can confer and all that?
Yes.
So, just for Brenda, we also give you an opportunity to confer. And Devon works in Harrow, so maybe you might know the answer. Because it's a Harrow-related question, Brenda. But the other thing is that, no, listen to me, Brenda, so you know the rules. You can also confer with Nana if you need to. So, this is her question. Being an ex-counselor, she's got not political, but you have to know about the history in Harrow. She said, when was the borough of Harrow formed? What year? I suggest you better talk to Nana because I can't trust Devon. If it's about charity or health, mental health, he might give the right answer, but please, come and confirm with Nana. Because this is meant for Brenda, but I said there's nothing like a free lunch. So we're all learning. So you think you know the answer? You think you know the answer?
Yes.
Okay, give me the answer then. When was the borough of Harrow formed? Now, can I tell you something before you answer? When Nana was mayor, we had a driver. Now they don't seem to have a full-time chauffeur, right? And he used to do some presentations in the mayor's parlor. And what he tells us is that Harrow is both the oldest and youngest borough
in
London.
Yeah.
So whatever you have has to be that correct year. So Brenda, what's the answer?
Well, the young one would be 54.
Yeah. That's 1954. Yeah.
1954?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the young one.
It's the same year.
Okay, maybe tell us the old one. Where's the old one then?
It's the same year. And I can tell you the story. 1954, the whole of London was reorganized.
Yeah.
But Harrow was already the youngest part. So it's both the youngest and the oldest.
Okay, in that case, Nana, you can give her a CD. Now, who should I pick? Oh, Gary.
It's very brand new.
Yes. Got it.
Yeah, this is-
But as I said, there's not a freelance, you have to work for it. Yes. Now, this is Gary, and Gary works for Brent.
Okay.
And what, I've got the pen, there's no pen. Yeah, he works for Brent, and it's not a pressure because he doesn't necessarily have to say anything. In terms of the, oh yeah, no, he has an anecdote. Come to the front. Yeah, because he's got an anecdote that I definitely want him to repeat. When we, on 1st July, because International Reggae Day is what day?
1st July.
Okay. You don't play CD, so I don't have anything to give to you.
What's the poster?
Oh, the poster goes with the CD.
Oh,
so I'll get you something different then.
Okay.
Oh, no, Sarah, what happened to the chocolates?
You can't tell the anecdote formula.
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Gary's here, so why?
No, okay, Nana, you get a chocolate then. Okay, this is it. She said 1st July, that's International Reggae Day. So in the morning, about 10, Don Butler, who's the MP for Brent Central, and Mohammed Bat, who is the leader of this council, were at Houston, and we launched this tree. And unfortunately, it was taken out, but it's been put back in there because there were some problems with the ground. Thankfully, it's been sorted because I was hounding and I said, look, we have a meeting, you've got to make sure that we have something positive to tell people. I can't just keep saying, we don't know. But anyway, if you go by houses there, but at the moment, it's not spectacular. The only thing draping off it is the red, gold, and green Rasta colors. Yeah?
Okay.
But the important thing is this. Gary told me an anecdote because he worked in a record shop. So can you repeat that anecdote? I'm sure we might find it useful.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me this evening, by the way. It's very kind of you, so thank you for that. I first met Kwaku last year when I was approached by someone senior saying, can you please plant a tree because it's International Reggae Day? I hadn't heard of it, but obviously I had now. And Kwaku suggested planting it next to the funeral directors. And I thought that's the...
No, that's your boss's suggestion, not mine. Your boss's suggestion.
Obviously, that is the dead centre of Harlesden, but not necessarily appropriate. That was a joke. Thank you for realising. But we chose what we hoped was a better location. It's outside Hawkeye Records, so it's appropriate in terms of the record shop. It's also appropriate because the pavement there is really quite big, so hopefully the little tree that we've planted will grow and grow and grow without too much trouble. But when we met, what the little anecdote I think Kwaku's desperate for me to tell you is, in the 1980s, I hadn't really heard of Harlesden or NW10. I'm from Lancashire originally, but at the time I was working for a record shop. Some of you might remember Our Price Records. Yeah.
No, let's see if they can tell you. Okay. Does anybody remember Our Price Records? Yes or no?
Yes.
That's better.
Okay, you're all giving your age away if you do. They haven't been around for quite some time, have they? Okay, I worked in Our Price Records in Northampton. And in those days, records, and it was mostly records, very few CDs, came in by the lorry load from big companies, for the Madonna and Michael Jackson, that sort of artist. And less so for the smaller things. We used to have a little tiny country and western section, little tiny classical music section, little tiny but reasonably well stocked reggae section. And all the reggae records, I didn't realise it then, but I remember it, they came from NW10. Oh. And that's because the record shops as you know them, at the time, they were also distributors. They physically delivered the records all around the country. I can't remember if I told you this bit, Kwaku, but Our Price had a very strict policy. On a Saturday, you had to play pure chart records. You couldn't play what you wanted, you had to play chart records. In the week, you had a bit more slack, you play what you wanted. And we all took our turns choosing. And one of the things that we all quite liked was a 12-inch reggae single by an artist called Wayne Smith. And the song was called Under Me Slang Ten.
Only one.
Sorry.
Who knows that song?
Yes.
Okay, it was supposed to be a classic, sampled so many times. Go ahead.
Okay, and we used to love it. And some of you might remember that a 12-inch single that was really thick, the actual sound quality was really good. Does anyone remember this? Yeah? Okay, so we used to have this record and we used to reverently put it on the turntable on a Monday morning and play it. And And then, horror of all horrors, someone bought it. That wasn't part of the plan. So when we went to reorder it, it was out of stock. And it was out of stock for months and months and months. And I got the blame. I got the blame in the shop. I had one colleague in particular, Alison, God rest her soul, she's dead now. And she used to love that record.
Oh.
And when she found out somebody bought it, she said, "You shouldn't have played it when there were people in the shop." So that's my ways. And what I didn't know then was that years later, I'd be working as a tree officer in Brent, that I'd know Harlesden reasonably well because I pot around it all the time, and I'd be asked to plant a tree in celebration of International Reggae Day. But there we are. Life takes a strange turn.
That's what I wanted to tell. So thank you very much, Gary.
Would you like some more on it, mate?
Maybe later, but this one I definitely wanted you to hear.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Right. So what Gary said was that there's quite a lot of space in that place. So we know it's very cold. So I'm waiting maybe the second quarter of next year when it's a bit warm. We can have an event on the pavement, have a marquee, because if you tell people to go to either to come here or to the community center close to it, you lose people. So we have an event on the pavement with a marquee. There's supposed to be a plaque as well. So it will be the official unveil of the plaque as well. And where is, yes, no, where's your friend? No, that's you, yeah, I met you in the shop.
Yes.
Yeah, I met him at Popsy shop, in case you don't know, I'm talking shop. That's if you're not housing based. One of the longest going record shops, and you notice that there aren't that many record shops now, is Starlight. And I popped in there over Saturday to see Popsy, who is in this DVD, by the way, and I met you, and your name is escaping me.
Chris.
Chris, yeah, of course, Chris. He's a sound engineer. And lo and behold, Chris said he was coming, and he kept his word. Unlike several people said, I'll be there. I've got to give apologies to a guy called Leonard Johnson. Anybody know Leonard Johnson apart from Crystal Rose? Because Leonard told me that he was going to come, and this afternoon I called him because the local paper is doing the story. There was a massive turnout yesterday. You were there at Bridge Park Complex. We're looking at the situation in the building, and the paper wanted. I think they interviewed me, but they wanted Leonard's contact, so I gave it to them. But I called Leonard, and Leonard told them, not only can't I talk, I'm impaired to tie, and I apologize. So Leonard, again, I talked about respect and discipline with regarding Andrew Muhammad. And Leonard, I found out that as a man of his word. He came to our Marcus Garvey event. And I was saying that we have to pay, even though we do the library, we pay for the space, right? And he said he would sort it out, not the whole thing, but he made a contribution. He made a contribution, and we don't ask for contributions, quite frankly. We do what we can do. We don't ask for contributions, but he gave it, so I just want to put that on record. So what I want to do is that I want to, Chris, you want to say something about Devin? Can you read the board? If you can read the board, if not, read that. I want you to choose the next one, and then we can have that quiz from Reggae Man. But it's not called Reggae Man, but for now it's Reggae Man.
Sound systems.
Sound systems, okay. Big thing. Can I tell you, the thing about sound systems that it started out as an underground thing, really for quote unquote those people into black music, particularly reggae, in people's homes because they couldn't get spaces elsewhere. And underground thing has now become so mainstream that there are university courses now on sound system and also not only courses, events. For example, there's a call for papers for one that's going to take place in Naples. So sound systems become a big business,
They started off in the blues, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in case you don't know, what happened was that because they didn't have access to halls, at best they could have a church hall and stuff. They'll do their rooms, and remember, people didn't have big rooms, so they had to move the wardrobes and things outside and to make as much room as they can. Yeah, and also talking about the Windrush related histories. One of the ways, apart from partner, that's to build capital, was that they saw the dreams, so that people could make money to build into different investments. So after this, Chris, I think you want to say something, but let me just play sound systems. So we're here learning, you know, so, and just pray that the technology works. Yeah, I think it's not working.
Because we grew up on Trojan sound system because they had the record company and they had the sound system that used to play over in a place called Burns in Cricklewood, and that was sort of our main after hours rave on a Friday night. But you know, you had sound systems like Success, People Sound, Lord Coos. These people played a very significant role in development of sound system. And even before that, we used to have like our parents, they used to have their sound systems and little shubbies. So there's always been major activities in Brent.
We used to have sound systems over here called People's Sound, Treasure Isle Sound, you know, lots of Trojan Sound, Sputnik. Lots of original sound, man. Big man them, my parents' age, who came over in the 50s and set up their sound systems, and that was their way of communication.
Sound system has played a major part in maintaining extreme grade of reggae music. Things that happen around the world. Many of the things that happen in reggae music or in the backbone of the music is the dedication of these sound systems. They sacrifice their life, their family, and everything to keep the reggae music going. When the average man is bringing home bread for his kids, the sound system man is bringing home chocolates. So they are very important for us to remember in our meetings. I come to that commission again.
DJ Mr. J from Soul Incorporated Roadshow. Started the sound in 1976, based in Ravensworth Road in Kensal Green. We're outside the Moonshine Building. It was one of the places where I came many years ago and put on some of our first gigs here as well. I think we're standing in a very sort of focal point here. I mean, over there to our left-hand side, we had Soul Incorporated, started in 1976. And over, if you go over to this side as well, you look at Mastermind Roadshow, also one of the best sound systems, I would say, to come out of the UK. We're just not only talking about two sort of soul sound systems as well. Over that side, basically, you've got people like Java, High Power, and over towards Alston, like Hawkeye International, Daddy Early, etc. I think the contribution for black music is major. I'm going back really in the 70s when a lot of people didn't have a lot of money. And basically, the sound systems were built on virtually nothing. You know, we're talking about building speakers, buying amplifiers, buying turntables, putting it all together, buying a van. And I think the contribution is major. I think if you take away the sound system and the promoters, technically we'll be living in a different era now. I mean, basically a lot of black people in this area look for the weekend, look for parties to go to, clubs, etc. And the promoters play a big part of that. So much going on. We used to have Tavistock in Harleston. They used to put on gigs every Friday, bring in the sound system, Java, Highchus. They used to bring all the sound systems out as well. So there was so much going on in this little area. I had two brothers, one's in Mastermind, one's in Soul Incorporated. Both more into soul, but I think one of the biggest highlights for me, I think in 1976, I think Herbie Laidley came back from America and Bresci told me about hip hop in 1976 and told me this is a new way forward, 2 decks, mixing. And I think that really inspired me not only to get into rap, but to actually get more into the sound systems and look at mixing. And I think we were one of the few sound systems, soul sound systems that used to play. There was another sound called Stateside Roadshow. Yeah, another sound, more of a sort of Wembley side.
You've forgotten 6x6, I believe.
6x6, yeah. Phil Ferry on 6x6. Before my time, 6x6, but I think my brothers always told me about 6x6. I think 6x6 was based in Kensal Rise. And I think technically a lot of people in the world, should know about Phil Ferron. Okay, Galaxy, Phil Ferron. But I think they were one of the original sound systems around here. They were one of the original sound systems. I remember years ago when my brother started Soul Incorporated, he sort of said, yeah, 6x6.
Okay, so that was sound systems. Quick question from the chap that just spoke. What year did he say hip hop was introduced to them? No, you have to rules, you put your hand up and then I know who's talking. So I give the prize to the person that answers. So if you, who's going to go for what year did they say that hip hop was introduced?
76,
But you're not the, yeah, no, hold on. Was it Devin? Who shouted that year first? Was it Devin? Oh, so it was you, Roland. Okay, that's fine. Actually, okay, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get nothing to do with music. You're going to get a smoke alarm. Now, please don't tell me that smoke alarms are not important.
No more cigarettes.
There you go. So, oh, I said something. With an African community context, we give and take with right hands. Even if you're left-handed. Right, fantastic. Okay.
Chris was going to ask a question.
Yeah, Chris.
Well, I wasn't going to ask a question, I was going to give you some information that I guarantee nobody would know, important information.
Oh.
Okay, you know what we're going to do?
Yeah.
Since I don't claim to the fountain of knowledge, but I've got a good idea. This is it. Can someone raise their hand? Please. No, Angela went. So, if I lose, then I'm going to give Angela a prize.
Okay.
So, test me. Not that I know everything. This seems to be like a hardcore thing that not a lot of people know. So, I'm interested. Please go ahead.
Okay, right. Well, it's something I'm going to announce. Shall I? Well, let me stand up. I will announce it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You obviously met me on
Saturday
in
Starlight.
Popsy's place. It
Yes.
originally was back in 1975.
Yeah, okay.
The first Trojan record shop. Before.
Yeah, but they're not called Trojan. They're called either Music City or the other one.
Well, they took it
Music
over.
Land.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They took it over.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
I grew up in that area.
Yes.
Everybody sound system wise I've known from I was, so I'm the, as you know, I'm an engineer, sound engineer. Now, for the past 3 years, because I design and install venues and everything, I have designed an analog recording studio.
My cameraman may text it, but I want to make sure you got the
Sorry.
Now, analog recording studio, obviously Harlesden, that's the centre, epicenter, I know,
Yes.
everybody. What it is next year, opening in Starlight there, it's going to be the first analog recording studio for how many years in the area? In total. And that's what I've been working on for 2.5, 3 years. That's why when you saw me there yesterday, nobody would know it, but that's where it is. And that obviously being Harlesden, being the main road, I used to, when I had my sound system, I used to go and buy records there. And
what was the sound system called?
Oh, mine was just a small little system. I used to follow Mastermind, and mine was, I used to do little house parties and things like that.
Come in, come in. That's a late hour.
All the sound systems that I do all the time, I'm the one in the background with it.
Yes.
But then obviously I went off down engineering for MTV and sorts of
cool.
things. And that's why I said, knowing them, I was approached to just design something and over how many years, see how the shop's changed. I don't know if you've been in there before. It was all changed.
No.
But it used to be just one big record.
Oh, yeah, the old days.
Now we redesign. I was
Yes.
doing architects. I got into that. And now, 4 and a bit years later, and a few months at the end of it, a huge investment. That's what's going to open next year.
Okay, you didn't ask me a question. But you give me information. Fantastic. Can I say, not only is it a huge investment, but it's going against the grain. Because digital is taking over and every man has got a recording studio in their phone or laptop. Studios are dying. So the fact that people are even investing in a real studio is something else. There is a real studio in Brent, and that's at the Theorem.
Yeah.
And if you want music industry history, the desk was taken from Pete Townsend's studio, LP studio. So it's a real serious desk in there. So I congratulate you guys for bringing real analog recording into Brent, and we look forward to maybe helping to promote the fund. Can you give a round of applause? That's great. Okay, before music, reggae man comes in. Roland, I hope you don't mind having your smoke alarm. Because one day, Roland's going to say, thank goodness Kwaku gave me this thing. Okay, now quickly, I want a question. Just random. Do you remember anything that was in the sound system? No. Okay, can you name one of the sound systems that was mentioned in it? Because it mentioned so many. any sound system that was mentioned in that section.
Mastermind.
No. People are not getting the rules. You don't blurt out answer. You raise and we know who it is. Because what happened to Brenda, don't that happen to anybody again. So you say, well, someone raised their hand.
Right at the back.
Right at the back. Councillor, go for it.
Mastermind.
So councillors obviously listen attentively. So it says master. Can you give a round of applause? Okay. Do you remember who did body talk? Do body talk? No, let this gentleman here answer. Because you guys are music people. Pardon?
Is that imagination?
Thank you very much. You know something? That's what you get. But really, what I wanted, right, was to ask Councillor a question. Because do you remember Imagination?
Yes, I do.
Right. Who was the lead singer? Oh, these people can have their rules, but nevertheless, I'm going back to Councillor. Who was the lead singer?
I was going to say, she said it exactly for me.
Which is what? Which is what?
Lee John.
Right, so you remember Lee John?
Yes.
Do you remember them doing body talk on top of the pops?
That was about 76, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
because there was some outrageous things. And I've done what in British Black music, one of the strands we do is British Black Music Month, sorry. One of the strands we do is the, what's it called? Something like an important album. So we did that album. What do you get people involved? So it was this year or last year. I can't remember. Last year we had Lee John, and then we had one of the producers with him, Tony Swain. So they tell us how the album came together and the anecdotes, the stuff that Chris was telling us that you don't know behind the scenes. So I'm going to give you a Lee John record. Do you know why? Because it's not R&B. It's got a new album that came out last year. But he's done a cover of Police and Thieves. Do you remember the reggae Police and Thieves? And there's a bit of a battered poster. Do you remember when we were young, we collected posters? I don't think young people are interested in posters anymore. So, Councillor, there you go. There you go. Okay, hold on. First of all, well, no, I'll give it as a gratis thing because no question was asked to me. There wasn't a question. He made the statement, didn't ask me a question. But I will give, I think Angela would appreciate a chocolate. So, you know what? I'll give her some mints. Okay, Angela, you can have some mints. Now, your lemon, I'll give you, I'll give that to you. No, so there you go. Yes. No? So, Angela, yeah, okay. So, one more question on this section. We're doing sound systems.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Can you name me, in terms of today, one of the main sound systems going? So that means someone not back on the day who's retired, but someone who's still happening regularly. I want to give something away quickly. Yeah, okay, go for it.
Saxon.
Saxon from East London, still going strong. That is where about 3 or so artists came from. Okay, I'll give you a prize. What can I give you? I'll give you a compilation. Green Street compilation. Right, so Saxon, what part of London did Saxon sound come from? Chris, I think I only let you answer if someone else can. Because you should know. Okay, Krista wants to go for it.
South London.
Okay, South or Southeast London, wasn't it? And, okay, so, no, so, do you play CDs, Crystal?
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, you can now, this guy is also a song.
I prefer chocolate.
You prefer chocolate? Okay. Yeah, what did you say? You get a CD? Okay, she did my CD. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So, one more question. You're more than welcome. One more question. Saxon, still talking about Saxon. There's been at least 3 artists that have come from Saxon Records who've had solo hits. No, Crystal, I think they are your brethren. I think they are your brethren. You seem to know so much about Saxon. And no, for this moment, Chris and the people will see. In fact, you know something? If your name starts to see, you're out of it for the moment. Right. So now, if you can remember any artist that came from the Saxon sound system that had solo hits. I mean, not reggae hits, but the hits that went into the charts. I mean, if you guys can't know, I'm excluding him as well because he's a reggae man. Yeah, okay. You know, I didn't realize you're a reggae man, so I'll give you a chance. He's a reggae man, but I'm giving him a chance. You got them, they had a crossover, that means a pop hit. Quickly, I'm sure you can't get it right. Also, you embarrass yourself so badly. Because he's a reggae man, so he has to get the correct answer. Go ahead.
Maxi Priest.
Maxi Priest is the biggest one. Can you give a round of applause? You know something, I'm just wondering what... Oh, Harriet, you off, yeah? So let me give you something before you go. Okay, this gentleman, because you're Ghanaian and he's Ghanaian, he does gospel. But you know the shock? I know him personally, I've never heard his music. Country, gospel, a Ghanaian. But this is the story, in case you're not aware of it. A lot of the African Caribbeans that came in here, they went into their homes. Apart from seeing the white Jesus image, all these country things were there. So it's not new, but in Ghana it's not the same. So it was a shock that he was a man. I think of Charlie Pride and also was the one big, yeah. So yeah. Actually, can we have a photo? Come over here, say, I can't my band. Photo. Oh, yeah. Miss Sarah and Nana, since you worked with them, come over. So, Miss Sarah, quickly. The lady has to go. Yeah, you can't take off. Yeah. So, Harriet, as I said.
Well, Chef worked today.
Yes, Chef was on the committee. Come over quickly. Right. So, her mother did great work. Then Betty, please Google her if you're not aware of it. Go on the other side, please. Yeah. So we're only doing this because that's the daughter. That's my wife. She worked tirelessly with her. We fundraised when we could. Nana also supported her, and we had things in the parlor and stuff.
No, the gentleman at the back. Can you go to the right a bit?
Yeah.
Listening. All right.
So we just wanted to acknowledge her. Yeah, the work and our engagement with her. Yes. We're not going to forget it in a hurry. And whilst he's doing the photo, let me tell you one thing my wife learned from her. Thank you. Just say thank you. No, but the point that she's always thanking people. So that's something. And also, okay, tell me one other thing learned from Dame.
The nicest thing about Dame was that everybody she met should say hello to them. She'd go to the hospital to visit A, but she wouldn't just visit A, she'd visit everybody in the ward. I mean, she was a fantastic person. She's the only person I know where she's not at the bus stop and the bus would see her and wait for her. Because she was a generous, kind person. Anytime she got onto the bus, she'd find something nice for the bus driver.
Sweet
cakes. She was one of the most beautiful people I've ever had the opportunity of meeting.
Yeah. Right. That's a good note to end on. Thanks a lot for coming down. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. So,
thank you.
Oh, okay. Mr. Reggae, have I given up all their prize? I think I have. Mr. Reggae, oh, no, I didn't give you your thing. So I was thinking nothing music because this guy's got all the music he needs. Does this have smoke alarm? You got no choice. Smoke alarm.
What we'll call kwaku is a lifesaver.
It's a lifesaver. The value of that. The value of that. Thank you very much. It's a perspective that you have on things. We are laughing at it. Yeah. So, one last prize. This is a promo. So, it's Blackstones and it's produced by Tony Rafkat, who we saw in there, who's very much based in Brent. So let me ask one question, then Mr. Come over so I know you're ready for our quiz. Right. Okay, I mentioned Tony. What was his band called? Tony, I just mentioned. I can't have you again, but please, people are not paying attention. In fact, the answer, I get the answer out.
Rasta.
Okay, that's something. I'm going to give it to him. Do you know why? He made an effort. Rafkat. Tony Rafkat. Thank you. Sometimes I tell my students, just make an effort is enough. Just make an effort. So, without further ado, and you know what? Because it's been all about me, you listen attentively because I will pick up something from here so I can give my star prize, which is this fetching t-shirt. Chris, can you read out what it says?
Earth, wind, and fire.
Nah, man, I'm reading, you see? You're not reading, that's not what's there. No, you're not doing your teachers any credit. So now I'm going to a proper teacher. So please can you read it?
F, wind, and more fire.
There we go! There we go! So, without further ado, he's got his books. Maybe you can, show your books and then get into it about 15 minutes or so, short, quick fire quiz. And if I like the answer, I might throw in a prize. So, you go ahead for it.
No problems. All right, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks to Kwake for inviting me down. My name is Sean Ken, as I said earlier. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a teacher, and I do a bit of writing as well as a journalist. I contribute to the Jamaica Gleaner UK, and also I write these things. And I was born in Jamaica, and I did a bit of media work. I was a newsreader on radio for a little while. I worked in the newsroom and that sort of thing. And then kind of moved on from that now, and so I'm doing a bit of teaching and so forth. So, reggae, I grew up listening to reggae, and even though my dad was a very ardent Christian, and I was brought up in that kind of family, he didn't quite approve so much of us listening to reggae music, because he was about, he used to say it's rock song, and when you hear that kind of thing, it means that it's not the kind of thing we should be listening to. But we'd still try and listen, to what was going on. I remember, I used to live on a little hill, just, the shop used to be just at the bottom of the road, as I said, for obvious reasons. Then after having grown up now, listened to all of that and so forth, I decided that I wanted to contribute in some way. I wasn't a singer, I wasn't a sound system selector, even though I did a bit of selection on radio, but that's slightly different from playing for a sound system. And I thought, what's the best way for me to make my little contribution? And I thought and thought and thought. But then one thing I remembered is that when I was in school, I used to like asking people, who sings this song? Who sings that one? Who's the writer for this? Who's the writer for that? And people were quite fascinated with it. So I thought, why not try something like that? So I started putting together some sample questions, and I just fielded them to people. And they were so excited, they wanted more and more and more. And I thought, you know what, this is it. I found it. So I decided to put together this book first. It's called Reggae Larger Than Life, the ultimate reggae music fun and games book. And the content in this is all about lots of questions, crossword puzzles, and word searches and things like those, just to get people to enjoy the background, delve into the background of reggae without being bored. Because sometimes when you read history books, you sit there and you think, why do I have to read this? Just pushing yourself through it. So I thought if they had questions and things like those, it would be a lot easier for them to get through it, have fun, and so forth. As well as something you can share with the family. So I did this first of all. Kwake did a review on it, and he picked up on one of the biggest things in there was about, it was quite Jamaica-centric. So I thought, okay, fine. So let me do a bit more research on the UK side to see if I can, include a bit more of the work about the reggae work in the UK. And these came about. This is called Reggae Trivia Fun Time, the ultimate reggae music trivia book. This is Dancehall Trivia Fun Time, the ultimate dancehall music trivia book. And they're all asking questions about reggae music and so forth. So I thought it would be, quite timely when I was invited down here. That Christmas time is a time when families, they come together and they have their Christmas meal and everybody's playing games and everything. It would be a good time to sit down and just go through something like this and teach the younger generation about reggae and just have really nice fun. Also, it would help to trigger certain memories of what happened during certain times in your life and everything, going through these things. So I thought, why not, let's do it. So, tonight I'm going to test you to see how much you know about reggae, or how much you remember about reggae. I wouldn't say how much you know, because I know you all know a lot about it. So, just a few quick questions from this. I'll start first of all with the Reggae Trivia Fun Time, the ultimate reggae music trivia book. And by the way, all of these are available on Amazon. So if you're looking to get a copy, I've got some with me tonight, but in case you're looking to get this at a later date, Christmas presents and things like those, it's available on Amazon. Just type in Sean Kane, that's my name here, or just Reggae Fun and Games book or Reggae Trivia, because these are unique books. Nothing like this has ever been done before. When I did the research for it, I realized there was absolutely nothing like this on the market. So all of these, the concept, everything, they're all quite unique books here. So, to get us started first of all, I thought I would go with this one first of all. Okay, so this is question 18. Paradise was a 1980 lovers rock classic for which Islington, London-born female singer? A. Janet Kay. B. Carol Thompson. C. Jean Adebambo. D. Sandra Cross. Right, I like the way you trained them up properly.
But you know what I'm going to do?
Right.
I'm just going to rain on your parade for a moment. These are reggae people, so try that gentleman there first.
Right. He's more likely to get it wrong.
he wants to make an effort. He raised his hand, so go for it.
Jean Adimambo.
Whoa!
Right. Okay, so that's no, that's Janet Kay. Sorry. No, it's Jean. I can see him sitting his shit like, you don't know anything. Right, so it's Jean Adebambo.
Can I have a round of applause, please?
Thank you. Right, very good. All right, next one. Which Birmingham UK-born reggae singer had a top 2 hit with a Fats Domino classic, It Keeps Raining, Tears From Our Eyes, in 1993? The options are Noel McCoy, Maxie Priest, Dennis Al Capone, D. Bitty McLean. No, not you again. All right, we go for the gentleman.
I'm only guessing.
Yes.
Bitty McLean?
Bitty McLean is correct, sir. Thank you very much for that.
Can I just interrupt one moment? Just around here.
Right.
Was it last year, one of the international reggae day? No, we did an event, and I had to be clear, because I'm glad you said number 2. Because when the records go up in the charts, they sort of say like a top, like
top
a chart,
top,
a top, yeah. And that's what we say with Silly Games. Silly Games also got to number 2, not number 1. It's important to make that distinction,
Good.
right? So Janet was sitting there, I had to clarify, and I showed the charts to show that in terms of the pop charts, it got to number 2. Obviously, it was number 1 in the reggae charts for a long time, so I'm glad we made the distinction, number 2. Number 2 is not number 1.
Good. So, as you know, having mentioned that as well, part of this is about the people and events that help to make reggae great. So we're talking about songwriters, artists, and musicians, and all these different people. They're all in here. Also, the event, when you talk about the events, we're looking at what reggae has done. So some of these songs, chart toppers. Some have been included on the original motion picture soundtrack albums for huge, American films. So we just thought, I'd do that to show the impact that reggae has had on the world. It all started in Africa. Our foreparents, when they got transported to the West, on the boats and everything, they brought their music with them. And they lived their music during those times. And even though they're gone, they passed them on to us. So all of this reggae and all these different genres of black music, it all started from the motherland. And we're just continuing to live it. So we just want to continue to show you some of the places that reggae has been and things that reggae has achieved. Right, another one. Red Red Wine is arguably one of the biggest records for British reggae and pop group UB40. Who wrote this song? Yeah, you can answer. Go on, you put your hand down. Anyway,
No, he must know it.
I'll give you the options. A. Neil Diamond. B. George Michael. C. Jimmy Cliff. D. Jimmy Riley. You may have a go, sir. Thank you.
What was the names again, sir?
Right, I'll say them again. A is
Sean, there's a hand up there.
Oh, there's a. Right, sorry then. So where's that hand? Sorry.
You raise your hand.
All right, sorry, sir. My bad. I was totally transfixed here, so I just wasn't, looking around across the room. But yes, sir, you may have.
Was it Neil Diamond?
Neil Diamond is the correct answer. Thank you very much. So as I said to you it's about the people that made reggae great. So songwriters, performers, all these different things. We just want people to understand a little bit more about the background to reggae. Right, this one is a bit more recent. It says, who received a Grammy nomination and was skanking sweet in 2017 after introducing the world to his beautiful Queen Majesty the previous year? The options are Chronix, Ibamar, Jimmy Cliff, Taurus Riley. Yes, sir, at the back.
Chronix.
It's Chronix, sir. Thank you very much. Well done, well done.
Come over, you got a prize, come over. What? No, it's random, it's random. I said, no, come over. You have to get out of that seat. So this is degree, So you must like reggae. He's from Southern Africa, by the way.
Oh, yes,
Andrew.
very much.
Yes,
Yes,
from Southern. Right to right.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
you're more than welcome. Yeah.
Right, good. Thank you very much for that. Right, another.
Yeah, no, again, sorry for the interruption, but it's important to do things before I forget. You remember, I raised the clap when somebody said something about Africa. I'm not quite sure. There was something about Africa. I think maybe it might be Brother Muhammad, Andrew. I'm not sure.
Yes,
and reggae. Yeah. We talk about reggae come from Jamaica. That's absolutely correct. But it's also important to make that link to Africa.
Yes.
So I tend to make it about people sort of end at Jamaica. So being a Jamaican, I give kudos to you for making that connection. So it's not like me saying I come from Ghana, so I'm claiming reggae, but you recognize the roots. So I just want you to.
I will always do that. Whoever is responsible, wherever the contribution style, the origin is, the roots, we have to highlight that. Right, next one. Can you name the London, UK-born female singer who released the lovers rock classic 6th Street in 1978? The song helped her to win the Artist of the Year title at the Reggae Awards UK the same year. Oh, so you know one of the options then? Right, lady at the back. Right. The options are Sandra Cross, Carol Thompson, Janet Kay, and Jean Adebambo.
Oh, the 6th Street?
Yeah.
Say that again.
It's Louise Mahomes. I can see you like that. Yeah. Did you really research that book? Louisa Marks, thank you very much. I just thought, let me see if you really know your stuff. You're guessing here. And then kind of came to your mind and thought, let me just blurt that out and see if it's alright. But you know your stuff and you stand your ground. You like that. That's good.
Again, I want to make a point. Crystal Rose came to our International Reggae Day, 1st July at the university. And then again, like with Nana, I just threw in the deep end to hold the fort whilst I was doing something, and she did admirably. She does something, is it the first Sunday of the month?
Yeah.
The first Sunday of the month, she does something particularly for singletons. So if you see your card, I've used the word singletons, who need to meet. So it's a speed dating for single people, right? And it's on terms. Maybe you can get a chance to tell us a little bit about that. So I just want to throw that in. Yeah. Okay. Then there's a club night in the evening. Oh, you can have dinner. So if you want to have lunch, is it lunch or dinner? Lunches, isn't it? Late lunch.
What? Let her say it.
No, let the man finish. I'm interrupting, not what's the other word? Interrupting. So let him finish. Go on.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Not intruding.
No, not intruding. No.
Not intruding. I like that.
Right, let's add another one there now. Released on the Labour of Love 2 album in 1989, Kingston Town became a major international hit for which Birmingham, UK originated reggae and pop group? Don't want the options. No. UB40. Thank you very much for that. Good. So we're putting albums in there as well so people can know the names of albums and things like that.
So a couple more, yeah?
All right, a couple more.
Yeah.
Right. Who were the original reggae ambassadors? A. Steel Pulse. B. UB40. C. Third World. D. Black Uhuru. Black Uhuru, sorry. Yes, sir?
Black Uhuru.
Not, sir. Not Steel Pulse, no.
Okay, you know something? This is so difficult that I'll give a prize to only two left.
Right, only two left.
Yeah, no, this one. Oh, yeah.
Right, I'll give you a clue. The late Bunny Ruggs was the lead singer of that group.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, sir?
Third World.
Third World is the answer, sir. Thank you. The original reggae ambassadors.
Who's that?
The gentleman.
Councillor.
No. The gentleman from in front of.
Oh. Okay, something to be said. No, nothing is ready at all. Nothing is ready.
Okay.
Okay. One more. The last one.
Right. Last one is. I'll tell you what. I think I'll take the last one from here then.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? This is going to be the key one. So this is going. So it might be a bit of a hard one. How UB40 type question. Because I want them to get. What does it say?
Earth, wind, and more fire.
More fire. So now Chris sees the more. Now I notice you see the more than Andrew. Yes, so.
Right, good. Right, ready to go. This one's from the dancehall book now.
So.
Right, it says, I am blessed, and today and tomorrow are popular tracks that belong to the repertoire of international dancehall artist Shatta Wale, who is of African origin.
Ghanaian,
of which country is Shatta Wale? Killed it.
No, have another one. Then I was trying to fly the Ghanaian flag. But you know what I'm going to do?
Well, you know, I was flying it.
Well, yeah, you did. In fact, this is a Ghanaian rapper. It's called Tan. It's very good. So, the next question, the next question, we'll get this, and then reserve the other one for this.
Right, okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
These things happen, but I said we're family. Today it was a relaxed situation. Okay. So in fact, it's all it's meant to be. Yes, Shatta Wale. Apparently it's supposed to be a relative of mine. I think he's playing at the O2 this month or within the next few weeks. Yeah. Shatta Wale. Shatta Wale. So
hold it.
Hold it.
Hold it.
Can you move your hand from in front of the slogan, please?
He wants to read the slogan.
Read the t-shirt.
No problem. No problem.
Move it.
My
can't see.
You can't see. You can't see. That'll do. That's better. So you should have said. Look at my tongue out there. That's the model. The things we models go. Remember, the top one is the next one.
Right.
For the t-shirt. But this one is to get a Ghanaian rapper.
But this one is easy, I think, you know.
Okay.
Should I give an easy one?
Yeah, give an easy one for this one, but you got fun and then probably had one. Shatta Wale type for this one. So this is an easy one because we want this. It's a very good rapper. And what I like, I come from, there are so many peoples in Ghana with different languages, right? There's no language like Ghanaian language. So and I come from the Ghana people, and he raps in Ghana, so English and Ghana as well. Yeah. What happens is that there's something called hip life, mixture of high life with hip hop. But most of the artists rap in Tree, which is like the main language in Ghana. So I like him because he raps in Ghana. There's not a lot of artists rapping in Ghana. That's why I like him. Yeah. So this is the easy one, and then the hard one comes.
Find a hard one. Right.
But we're not doing the hard one now.
No, not the hard one.
Yeah, not now. Okay.
All right. This one says the 1979 Dennis Bovell penned "Silly Games" is a timeless lovers rock classic for which of the following celebrated UK singers?
I'm
spoiled for choice now.
I want my money back.
Right, you choose.
No, let them answer without the question.
Without the
answer. No, you have to mention the question.
No, he has asked the question. He has asked but he didn't give the options. He didn't give the options, but he has the question.
But this man knows his stuff. Janet Kay.
But who is he going to?
Yeah,
this man. Okay then. There you go. Thanks. But next time, please, you have to raise your hand because I think there's some confusion. So for the hard one, certainly we need to see a hand going up. Because these t-shirts is not going to go easy, you know. Because I now, I'm definitely not going to wrap this one. Because sorry I spoiled it for him. So this one, I'm shutting up till the answer has been correctly verified.
Coming up to this one.
Yes. Oh, once it's doing that, your last question, what's your last question?
Right, last question coming up.
Oh yeah, no. I want to tell you a story about that. There was a guy, right, Dennis Bovell, you didn't know this, Dennis Bovell wrote the song, right? I had a collaboration with some European man who, there's a Channel 4, he's a gangster, so there's a Channel 4 program with him. He claimed co-writer on it. And Dennis had to work hard to get his name off this. And then if you look at some of the compilations, Dennis's name is not on it. He seems to have given it to someone else, but everyone knows that Dennis wrote that song, right? But on some compilations, I think I've seen another name on there. But this guy, Dennis was telling me, it's a gangster. If you go into Wikipedia, you see it. Channel 4 made a program about him, and he was claiming to have co-writer ownership in Syndicate. So there are some stories. You're still looking? Or
Right, I'm all done now. So,
fantastic.
yeah, let's see if we can try this one now.
Yes.
Right. Who despite seeing the no disturb sign, was so tempted to touch that even when he was accosted, he kept putting up resistance until he eventually got himself into double trouble in the 1990s.
That's a nice one. I like the way you phrase it. You bet.
Should I repeat? Or you're thinking?
Either you know the song or you don't. Simple as that.
So should I read again?
Yeah. Okay, one more time.
Right.
You either know it or you don't. Simple as that.
And I'll try and be as slow as possible. Who, despite seeing the no disturb sign, was so tempted to touch that even when he was accosted, he kept putting up resistance until he eventually got himself into double trouble in the 1990s.
What's the options?
Oh, the options are right, Bunny Wailer, Pliers, Bunny Ruggs, and Beres Hammond.
Well, it seems to us, apart from Christian Rose, who's retired, it seems to the same suspects. Come on! You know what? I'm just going to do Mini Money More. Mini Money More, what did they do?
You should take steel bids.
Right.
No, okay, you know what I'm going to do? No, Brenda, no. Look at this man's hand. Oh, it goes on a t-shirt. So much enthusiasm here. Okay, I'm just going to assume that Brenda is an independent person and she has to choose between one. Do you have your hand up? Those 4 hands are went up. So these are the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me list them. This guy's called Devon. This guy is the councillor. What is your name, councillor? There you go, Councillor Johnson. Mr. Wilson of Rima. And their song. No, before I go further. That song that brought out last year, please tell the church because it's fantastic language structure. So everybody had kept up. What was the cat you brought out last year?
If loving you.
If loving you, please, Rima. Rima is R-E-M-A.
A-R-U.
Ah, okay, I don't know how to spell. Please check out that track. It's so fantastic. And then the last person is my man in here. He's called Ronald. Some people know as Ferdy. Or is it Ferdy? So, I'm sorry, Brenda, it's up to you.
Wait on my shoulders.
Yeah, quickly. Choose one of the nice gentlemen to answer. Quickly, please. No, quickly. Okay, I'm going to call 5 if you don't let it for Yeah. Whilst we do that, it's part of the reggae fraternity. I'll give you the flags. They've got come and take photo with us here. I'm sorry. They've got an Xmas party in Brixton. Is this Sunday? Your party?
Reggae Fraternity UK, yes. Networking party this Sunday.
This Sunday in Brixton, the something house, the market house.
Okay.
Yeah? Yes?
Yeah, thanks.
Yes. Whoa, can you get a round of applause?
One more thing. I'm going to throw a prize in for this book. Well, the person who's going to have the first right of refusal is the gentleman at the back there from Southern Africa, is it?
Yes.
Yes,
Good. Right. So
is this Zimbabwe?
No.
Namibia.
Right.
Yes.
Well, this has got your name written on it, but if you don't want it, I'll rub it out and give it to somebody else. Right. The question is, Chance. Sorry, hold on. Let's see. All right. Yeah, it says which reggae group? Sorry, the reggae group Prophecy recorded the song Chance as a tribute to which South African singer who was shot dead during a robbery in Johannesburg in October 2007. The options are Hugh Masekela,
No.
Jonathan Butler, C. Lucky Dube, D. Ringo Madlingozi.
It was Lucky Dube.
Lucky Dube, sir. Congratulations, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can take a photo.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Crystal wants to say something. You want us to say now?
Yeah, whilst we do that, please, Crystal. Oh, no, I let it come so we can have a full attention.
Yeah, touch over, man.
Hang on a minute, let me just check that. Yeah, that's fine. Everybody look into the camera.
The book is upside down.
Okay, well.
Is the book upside down? No, it's not upside down. It's a last one. Okay, one more. Quickly. Thank you very much. Okay. Quickly, before Christmas comes, and I'm mindful of time.
Yeah.
First 4 can we give a round of applause to Sean? So, how much are the books, by the way?
Right, the books, these ones here are £12.50.
Yes.
Thick one has got lots of information on.
Quickly.
And this one is for £5.
Yes.
This one is also £5.
Thank you very much. Okay. You know what? Because you made an effort to do something on British reggae, if they are so tight-fisted and don't buy any, I'm going to buy a few. Just because you've made that effort, yeah? So, thank you very much, Sean. Okay. Quickly, now I'm going to make it easy, right? Just name me one Lovers Rock artist. You have to raise your hand. Don't talk about anyone. Because I want to give this prize and I'll explain later. Miss Sarah, please get ready. Can you name me one British Lovers Rock artist? You know what?
Maxi Priest.
I saw, some I didn't see Chris, but I saw Crystal. Crystal, go for it.
Santa Cross.
Santa Cross, thank you very much. Okay, that's fine. And she's alive and still going. I'm going to give nothing to do with music, though there's some music in there because we do environmental projects amongst our environmental project. And this is a project we did for young people called It's Cool to Care About the Environment. So we looked at this, we looked at recycling. So I'm going to give that to you. But Ms. Sarah, can you come and tell us because you got a fundraiser, you're releasing a record that we launched in here a few weeks ago.
Because time is
Yeah. So
in 2 minutes, all I'm going to say is this. We're very much into the environment. I don't know where you live, but at least where we live, there's a lot of fly tipping and littering and all sorts of things. We're trying to encourage responsible behavior. So we got young people to come together, we worked with them, and we wrote and recorded a song addressing fly tipping and littering. And the digital release of the song is on Tuesday, 8th January at City Hall. It's a free event, and you're all welcome. You just have to book first, but it's free, everybody's welcome. Please come and support the young people. And then also share good practice. We know some barrows are very clean. So how do they manage it? How can we work together to ensure that Brent and all the other barrows we live in are pleasant places to live, to be. And then on Thursday, the 19th of December, we're organizing a fundraiser for an organization in Ghana called Nelplast. And I'm sure you've all heard about how plastics are clogging everywhere, the oceans everywhere. Now this young person is only about 35, an engineer. He's come out of a way of recycling plastics and using plastics for building materials. And that's what he's doing. Because in Ghana right now, the recycling rate is just about 2%. In fact, we went to the Ministry of Environment when we were in Ghana last year, and he's paved in front of the ministry, looking very nice. And he needs machinery to upscale. You'd have thought the government would support, but they're not doing it. So rather than scream and jump up and down, we're just trying to support him to buy a machine so he can continue his recycling business. And what he also does is that he pays anybody who brings in discarded plastics to the factory, they weigh it and pay him. So because that helps a low-income people, an unemployed person, you can collect discarded plastic, take it to him, and that money can be used for little bits. Thank you very much, that's it.
Oh, wow! So you get that in the circular if you haven't already. If I can indulge beg your indulgence, maybe if you give us 10 minutes to wrap up. And we can spend some time having drinks and stuff. We booked to later, but being a weekday, we said 9 o'clock. So in 10 minutes, we'll have finished and you can help yourselves with some drinks or whatever. That is, pardon? That's true. Crystal Rose, can you come over, please? It's best to speak from the front and the back. So that is the event Colin was talking about. So can you please take a flight, especially if you can come down to Brixton on Sunday. If you're into reggae, there'll be quite a few of the reggae stars. And Devin, I know you're into reggae, so maybe you can bring your wife. So Crystal Rose, my sister, as you know, she was only have one voice, please, doing a Crystal Rose show. And as Ms. Sarah said, she was supposed to be Britain's answer to Oprah Winfrey. She's been doing our events for quite a while, and I did say this at the International Reggae Day. The way I saw Crystal Rose on TV, right? And then one day I was in Hammersmith and she was actually having flyers. I said, wow, her flyers of an event. And I was impressed because it's like, yes, you can get people to do it, but if it's your thing doing it, that's so, and you know, she told that I still hand out flyers. So please tell us a bit about your events then.
Great, thank you. Hi everyone. Hello. Good to be here. I put on events now once a month, although I am...
Excuse me, I'm hearing some voices. Can we have one voice, please, by listening to her, please?
I do have 2 international events this, actually 2019. One to Orlando, Florida, where that's a very big speed dating event. So in the event that you're interested in meeting Americans, then that's the one to go to. And then in November of 2019, there's a trip to Barbados. This year I did a trip to Atlanta. There were 66 of us that went over there. So, but the first Sunday of every month, I'm in Cotton's restaurant now.
Oh, you've moved to Cotton's?
Moved to Cotton's, Caribbean restaurant, because there was quite a few complaints about the food in the waterfront. So now we're in a Caribbean restaurant, and I used to do the speed dating there once a month, but it was very difficult to get the guys to come.
Wow.
Yes, and come on time. So I've decided to shelve the speed dating and just do, I very much love the chap that came before me to do a quiz.
Yeah.
And we've got a singer, Tim German's going to be there singing. You get a buffet, a fantastic Caribbean buffet. So you get curry goat and rice and peas and chicken and escabeche fish. And everything, if you don't want the buffet, it's £10, but with the buffet it's 25. And we just have a fantastic day from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. So if you'd love to come along, in fact, if you'd love to come along, since you're here and want to do the buffet, I'll give you a £5 discount. Okay? Thank you. Oh, my pleasure.
How do they access the £5 discount?
They can tell me today and I'll write their names down.
Or else they can email you and say I was at the event or something like that?
Indeed.
Okay, that's cool, thanks a lot. Maybe I can just circulate it to them, and since I didn't realize that you've moved, you can give me the details and then I can update them.
80 yards away.
Yeah, okay. Oh, it's the same area?
It's literally down there.
Oh, I was thinking of the one that used to be in Exmoor Street. They had one, anyway, near King's Cross. I was thinking of that one. It's close to, oh, fantastic. Okay. Can you round of applause to Yes. Okay, we're just about to wrap up, and it did say Brent and reggae. So can I just, this is going to be a quick history, Brent and reggae.
Yeah.
Can I have your attention? Mr. Reggae Man, you really have to hold it. We're going to have time to do all this. Right. We got time here for a while, right? So we can do all that. Let's have attention and finish hard. Okay, Brent and reggae, speed. She does speed dating. I'm going to do speed presentation of Brent and reggae. Our history did not start in 1948 with the Windrush. There were at least 2 boats that came with African Caribbeans before the Windrush. Let's get that straight. In 1947. Africans have been coming to Britain making records well before reggae started. So there used to be a label, for example, called Melodisc. And they realized that there was a niche market for black music. So it was releasing American R&B, blues, and then Caribbean music took hold. So it was releasing Calypso. And before you had reggae, you had something called ska. Yeah. We're releasing that even before the African Caribbeans decided to relocate to Britain. So let's understand that the music did not start with Windrush. Right, okay. Nevertheless, migration is important. That's why Mr. Sean can talk about the history of reggae. It's not just in Jamaica, but it goes all the way to Africa. It's about migration, whether forced or voluntary. But nevertheless, what happened is that from 1948 onwards, and particularly before 1962, with the the 1962 Commonwealth Immigrants Act, there was a rush of African Caribbeans coming to Britain. So there was a bigger demand for Caribbean music. Remember, Caribbean music is not what comes just from Jamaica and reggae. Before reggae, we had Calypso. We came from Trinidad, right? So the Mentos are also traditional music from the Caribbean. But I'm talking about, in terms of crossover music, Calypso crossed over well before reggae came on the scene. Harry Belafonte had a great, in fact, he's supposed to have had the first million-selling album in America, Calypso. But you know, Harry Belafonte has got roots in Jamaica, by the way, right? So although, can I say this on video? Let's put it this way. there's some issue about the claims of the songs that now you have to pay Harry Belafonte because they've claimed right to credit, but that's, I'm deviating. So the point I'm making is that because of the great rush of African Caribbeans in here, there's a red market. So yes, you could import from Jamaica, but that's not as viable as producing, as releasing here. So a whole raft of reggae labels set up. And then the big boys, when they could smell money, they got involved. And so before Millie, we all know about Millie and My Boy Lollipop, but well before Millie, there were all these melodies. Certainly Prince Buster had hits, and that was before Millie, right? But nevertheless, Millie's My Boy Lollipop is supposed to be the first record, and wasn't chart topper again. It got to #2. Both in the national charts in the UK and incredibly in the US, where they don't understand reggae in the 1960s. Because it was promoted as a pop record.
Yeah.
So after that, you didn't see more ska in the American charts. And in fact, reggae did not make an impact in America until the 1990s when dancehall came, because they're mixing reggae with hip-hop. So the Americans could understand the hip-hop element. And that's where you have all this shabba, because they're rapping, that's how that happened. But before then, Americans did not understand reggae. So Britain, that was ruling. You could not be successful in reggae without having passed through London. And more important, without passing through Brent. Because you had to come to Housden. The 3 main record companies were based in Brent. The first one that a lot of people do not know is Orbitone or Planetone. That was my brother, who's still alive, Sonny Roberts. He set up in 108 Cambridge Road. The road is there, but the building is there, but they've knocked it down for all these flats and things, right? But 108 is important in terms of Brent and reggae, because when Sonny had the place, he had the studio downstairs, right? The owner of the place, interesting, if you want a Windrush connection, his father came on the Windrush. The owner, or subsequent owner, I should say, was called Lee Guptill. He was an accountant, but his father came on Windrush. I think on the passenger list is listed as a carpenter, I think. Made some money, bought the house, but he went back to Jamaica. Oh, that one thing, when you say Caribbean, it's not good enough because Caribbean is not necessarily of African heritage. So he, in particular, was of Indian heritage. So the Caribbean, you can be European, you can be Asian, you can be African. So that's what we qualify by saying African Caribbean if you need to make that distinction. Are you with me? Excuse me, are you with me?
Yes.
I'm making a point that Caribbean is not specific. It just says you've got antecedents in Caribbean, but it doesn't tell whether you're African, Asian, or European. So in terms of Lee Guptill's father, he was an Asian Caribbean, but he was Jamaican. Right, so he went back. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Sonny rented downstairs. And then there's the European. So I've talked about Asian, Jamaican.
Yes.
Now I'm going to talk about European, Jamaican, which was Chris Blackwell. Chris Blackwell came to London, Harrow School person, so middle class. And he was doing reggae. He was never a sound man. All the producers, or most of the producers in Jamaica came from sound system, but not Chris Blackwell. He used to go to America, buy the R&B records and sell it to them, right? But he also became a producer in Jamaica. Island Records was set up in Jamaica in '59. He came to London in, I think, '61 or '62. And then he came to 108 and told Sonny, because they knew themselves, Jamaicans, it was a small group at the time. He's looking for someone because he was selling his records off the back of his car, which I think was a Mini Cooper, if I'm not mistaken, right? So Sonny said, oh, I think there's a room upstairs, but I'll talk to the landlord. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he talked to the landlord, Island Records moved in there, and that's where they were for a while. And then what Sonny says is that people used to come down to see him, but after a while, they'll go upstairs to go and do shows. So they said, oh yeah. And then he bought all the rooms that were available, right? And then he expanded past that. So there were 108, that is Island Records. Then Island Records also do reggae. But then this guy called Lee Guptill, who was an accountant, could smell the money. So they got involved, they set up something called Trojan Records. Yeah. Trojan Records is a record label that was in, or rather, it's a sound system in Jamaica. And they had, the label is Treasure Hour. So who has Trojan Sounds in Jamaica? I'm expecting, you know, Dupree, yes. So that is what his sound system is, not the record label. The record label was Treasure Hour. So they took the name Trojan because they released a lot of stuff. Another anecdote. The Trojan, right, comes from the fact that Duke Reed had a van on which they put the sound system all called Trojan. And Trojan used to be manufactured in Crawley many years ago, right? That's when Britain had a motor industry. Yes. Okay. So Trojan is there. They later on went to another part of Brent, which was Nice. That's where we know them. At some time, Chris decided to focus on, before I do that, yeah, so we talk about My Boy Pop, #1, pop record. They made a lot of money out of that. Then he went to Birmingham and found an R&B band, but a blue soul band. Anybody remember the names of a soul, blue-eyed R&B band? Steve Winwood was the lead singer.
Traffic.
Not Traffic. Traffic was an island, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Okay. Their first 2 hits was written by a Jamaican, Jackie. What's his last name? You should know. Jackie?
You too?
Jackie, no. Singer-songwriter.
Jackie Edwards.
Jackie Edwards. Their first, some Keep On Running.
Yeah.
That was written by a Jamaican. Yeah, okay. So, in Brent's, we had not just before, but we had Palmer. Fine enough, they started as estate agents with the music side as a sideline in Harrow, but they moved to Brent, and that's what we know them as Brent. Record shop, distributors, they used to give money back to people like to produce more things. So they worked with, what's his name? Bunny, not Bunny, who's the Bunny? Striker Lee.
Striker Lee, yeah.
So they'll tell me about Striker Lee. In fact, told me how Palmer, Mr. Palmer, gave him money to go and give to the dub man, the one that first produced the Wailers. What's his name? The dub man. Now I'm testing. Scratch. Yeah. So the point we're making is that without Britain, some of they would have been selling just in Jamaica. Because if you look at it, right, how come that it's on reggae? There's a lot of different music in the Caribbean, but reggae seems to be that's gone mainstream. I think it was a focus that we had this British intervention. No, what the other way about intervention. Yeah. Because the companies were able to support, sell, and invest there. I have to say that yes, the African community, by way, I mean by African, I mean people of African heritage, they're not from the Caribbean or Africa or Britain, but also Europeans, particularly the Moors. Later on, the skinheads. So isn't it funny? You see the skinheads are supposed to be racist, but they're still consuming black music. So we had all these guys. So it wasn't just, the music could not survive just on African patronage. So it was quite wide, even though BBC was not supporting it. But these guys would go to the clubs, they go to record shops when we had record shops and buy these things. So we have Palmer Records. So that's 2. There must be a third one. So Trojan, Palmer Records at later stage. I think the 80s became Jetstar Records. So those 2. Distributors, reggae, they've always been in Brent, from the Harrow Road to the High Street. In years gone by, in the 70s, even went down Craving Park Road, right? Record shops, and on top, they always had a record label as well.
Yeah.
So if you look at the DVD, it tells you a bit about this, but this is like the speed thing. In the 90s, unfortunately, I just started this for about 10 years or so. But in the 90s and 80s, you could not distribute records without coming to Just Start, because they're the major reggae producers. And not far from where they were on house, there was also, for a little time, Ballistic Records, Mojo Records. I don't know if you remember Mojo Records. Those are all these niche businesses centered around reggae. But I have to say, house was not just reggae music. There was always all forms of black music. So when you went to shops, Creole Records ended up in house. When they had Barry Gibbs. I wanna wake up with you. Barry Gardner, yes. Boris Gardner. They were, at that time, they were based in Houston. And they also had a record shop. So I just focused on the reggae thing. So what else can I say about reggae and Britain? Maybe you have to see the full thing. So I thought maybe we'll program it into British Black Music 2019 so you can see the full thing. But we cover so much. And then there's a booklet. Unfortunately, it's out of print, but we capture so much. But lastly, what I'm going to say is this, and it's a shame. Oh, there's one counselor here, so maybe he can help. Because Brent's supposed to be the Borough of Culture for 2020, and reggae is going to be a key point of what they'll be doing, probably make a bid for this thing to reproduce, because this captures histories of the area. So power stations, this doesn't, the video you saw doesn't capture as much as this. But unfortunately, I had to cram, because of budget, I had to cram a lot in here. And the
reggae has not been a UNESCO.
Oh yes, okay. So bring it up to date. Nothing to do with us. The Jamaican, and although we've heard about the news today, they've been campaigning for about 2 years. Reggae is now on the UNESCO intangible cultural list. Right? Can I just say something? It's purely symbolic, because you read things saying protecting reggae. There's no protection. In terms of intellectual property, copyright is what helps you protect things, but you cannot protect culture in the wide sense. So what it does is that it just gives credit to Jamaica, even though Sean agrees that the music comes from Africa, it gives credit to the fact that it was sort of incubated and grown in Jamaica. So you cannot talk about reggae and then give it to Chile, for example. Because we know that the home is Jamaica. But what it does is that the country can monetize it by exploiting that connection. So there's no protection. Unfortunately, a lot of reggae, they didn't sort out their contracts. So some people are receiving monies that they're not entitled to, but people do not know any better. That still happens. And this thing is not going to change that situation. All it does is that it will help the tourism if they align it properly in terms of monetizing. So that's about it. But the last now, okay, yes.
Could I interject?
Yes.
You mentioned Melodist earlier.
Yes.
And the early imports of Jamaican music.
Yes.
Melodist was run by Jonathan Shalit.
Shalit, yes. No, not Jonathan. There wasn't. You're talking about Jonathan, the other one.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah.
Mr. Shalit, as he was called.
Yes.
And his subordinate label was Bluebeat.
Yes.
Which gave the wrong name to ska.
Yeah.
People thought it was called Bluebeat. It wasn't. It was only Shalit's label that was called Bluebeat.
Yeah, that's true. But no, what happened is that, remember, Lovers Rock was also, the name came from a record label. Dennis Harris had a label called Lovers Rock, and that's a consequence that's it was called. So that's happened. And it's not only ska, it was also called Jamaican Blues. Yeah. So ska has got different names. But thank you for the intervention. So I want to finish out by saying there was a guy on the video on the sound system that he brought in here properly. Guys, can we finish? Excuse me, it's a small room, so when you talk over, we can hear you. Right, I appreciate that. This is the last, and then we can finish. And I thank you for bearing with me. On the video, in terms of the sound system, there's a guy talking who the sound wasn't very good. He's the guy, the last of the three brothers, the Palmer brothers. So he was known as Mr. Palmer. He was the one that just started to the end. And I knew him very well, but he didn't like media. So for example, I was going to talk to him about, so that was done surreptitiously. I was at the Jamaican High Commission, he was doing a presentation, that's why the sound isn't so good. And I used just a little bit of him. I had quite a bit, but because he wasn't particularly interested in doing the media thing, I couldn't use, So I just want to give respect to him because people got different stories about him. But without him, some people may not have had the careers because you needed to distribute, as what's his name, Sean said earlier on. So if not Sean, Gary said earlier on. So that physical distribution, if you didn't have it, you won't go anywhere. A band like China Black, for example, it started off as a white label. If you didn't have, in fact, even Apache Indians from Birmingham, white label, if you didn't have that distribution, they would not have had the subsequent hits as they had. What he said on tape that I want to repeat because you may not have heard it was that when most men are going to work to bring in money for their family to feed them, sound system people bring in door plates. So they spend all their money on records. So if the wives are not astute enough to grasp all the money, it all goes onto records. So on that note, I really want to thank you for participating and indulging. Please, if you want my resources to pay, that's there. If you want some free things, just pick up what you want there. But please get to the way out and either get a food or have a drink. Thank you very much.
Bob Marley came, Bob Marley went to Island Records, which was in Ladbroke Grove. Was up in Get Due News of All Saints Road. Yet really it was All Devils Road, and they called it All Saints Road. I was doing Saturday school at the Metro Youth Club, and they came there to practice, to make their records. He met me, I told him I came from Ghana, and I was doing the Saturday school free. He had a chat with me. He said his ancestors came from Ghana, and every time he came back, he looked for me because I used to coach and the motorway. And so I got to know him very well. He's somebody who was very, very proud of being an African, and today his wife lives in Ghana.